Hey guys, it is soup time again. It is 5:30 and look, I'm making this soup for dinner. Whatever videos I make is usually whatever I'm cooking for dinner that night. So this is a soup that you can make. It's going to take us maybe 30 minutes, maybe a little bit more depending. You can see I've kind of already prepped out some of my stuff here. I've got rendering in the pot 5 slices of bacon. This is a classic favorite bacon cheddar. Of course, it's going to be a smoky bacon cheddar because I am putting bacon and I'm going to use some ham stock instead of water or vegetable stock. I've got 5 slices of bacon and I've already poured off some of the fat. We got a lot of cheese and heavy cream and yummy other goodness going in there, so we don't want all that bacon fat in there. But 5 slices of bacon. I'm going to do half of this onion right here, yellow or white. It doesn't matter which one. I wouldn't do red, but either white or yellow is fine. And go ahead, when you're peeling an onion, don't try to peel off that. Just take that whole outer layer because it's tough anyway, so you don't want that. It's gonna get in the way. And then see, the onion has these little lines already kind of in it. Well, that's like just a guide to remind you which direction to start cutting in first. So just go the same direction as the lines. And I leave my little end connected here so that my onion doesn't fall apart. And just kind of make consistent slices. Consistency is key, not just because of the way it looks, but because it makes everything cook evenly. So then we're going to turn in the opposite direction. We're just going to go down this way here. And when you get to that end that's still connected, just lay it on its side. And just go through this way here. Turn it and go through that way. And then we're just going to scoop that up and put that right in with the bacon. So you can see we did let the bacon get a little brown in there, not too brown. Some people might want to take the bacon out and then put it on top, but I like those little pieces of bacon kind of floating around in there. So I have what would probably be the equivalent to 1 stalk of celery, but these are my poor little ends of the celery that I had left in there. And we're just going to do a little small dice on those. You always want to use the leaves, guys. They have tons of flavor. You're going to see me say that probably every video that I use celery. Okay, so that's going to go in with the onions and 1 carrot, which we are just going to do in little rings because it's going to kind of break apart as it cooks. So do some little thin circles of carrot. And we're going to throw that in with the onions, celery, and bacon. You do want to do them thin because you don't want big, huge chunks of carrot in there, but instead of dicing them, we're just going to cut them thin and let them fall apart on their own. That's going to go in there. Give that a stir. We don't want to get too much more color on here. Just kind of want everything to sweat down a little bit. I'm going to go ahead with my 1 clove of garlic. Just going to give that a little whack so we can get the peeling off. And then I'm going to, as always with garlic, use my my grater and grate that right in. Okay, so we got the one clove of garlic in there. Give that a little stir. Now I've cut up the broccoli pretty small. You can see I don't have any really big pieces in here. And I've got 2 Yukon Gold potatoes diced up really small as well. So that just kind of helps give it a lot of body and makes it a little heartier, especially since we have all this yummy cream and butter in here. It makes it more filling. You can kind of almost eat it like a meal. So we're going to do half a teaspoon of ham base. So I use the Better Than Bouillon bases. You guys know I've talked about those. This is the ham base. It's great for adding to beans or soups or anything that you're going to use like a smoked meat. You don't need a ton, just a little bit to kick up the smokiness. And also it's pretty salty, so we certainly wouldn't want to put much more than that since this is going to have a lot of cheese and stuff in it already. Give that a stir. as if we don't already have enough goodness with all that bacon fat, we're gonna go in with half a stick of butter. Let that melt. And to all that, we're gonna go in with a 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour. So basically we're just making a roux with this flour and the fat from the butter and the bacon grease. That's what's gonna thicken our soup. I'm gonna give one little pinch of my house seasoning, but not a lot because the bacon's salty, the cheese is salty, that ham base is salty. So that's gonna be about all the salt we need for this entire dish. Okay, once that flour is kind of cooked off a little bit and you don't see any white bit of flour in there, you can go ahead, put your broccoli in. That's 1 pound of broccoli cut up. You can use frozen broccoli, but if you do that, I want you to defrost it and squeeze out some of that water. Otherwise, it's gonna water down your soup. And we're gonna go with the 2 potatoes. Give that a good stir. And then we're gonna go in with 4 cups of water. So if you don't have the ham base or you think that's not something you're gonna use a lot and you don't wanna buy that, just go with 4 cups of chicken stock. You could even just do 4 cups of water, that's fine too. I just love the little smokiness that the ham base adds. So this doesn't look like a ton of water, and that's okay because we want this to be a thick soup. And if we start out too watery, it's gonna be hard for it to thicken later. That's a lot of broccoli. I think I might have had a little bit over 1 pound of broccoli. It was like two big heads, but for you, just go ahead and get, weigh it out so it's a little bit over 1 pound because we're not gonna use the stems, but I think mine's a little bit over 1 pound even with the stems. So I am gonna go with 1 more cup of water. But basically what you want to do is make sure that the broccoli is covered, and this is, as you can see, not quite covered. So yeah, that's perfect right there. So that was 5 cups of water. Give it a stir. I'm gonna go with some pepper here, probably about 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. And that's it. Then we're gonna cover this and let it cook probably about 20 minutes, and we'll come back and finish it up. See you then. Okay, so this soup has cooked for about 20 minutes, and you can cook it at a pretty high rate. You don't have the cream in there yet, so you don't have to worry about that separating. So the potatoes are soft, the broccoli's soft. We don't wanna go much more than when it's just soft because we wanna kind of keep some of that fresh broccoli flavor in there. So I am using 7 slices of American cheese. That's kind of what gives you that consistency that we all know is broccoli cheddar soup. You could use Velveeta. I just don't use Velveeta for anything else, so I don't buy it just for this soup. So, but I always have American cheese. This is about 7 slices of American cheese, and I'm just gonna break it up and throw it in there to pieces. And now I've got this on super low. I'm also gonna put in 1 cup of heavy cream. And this is 1 cup. I just had random pieces of cheese. So this is actually a little bit of piece of Munster, a little piece of Colby, and a piece of cheddar. I'm gonna put in about one, I don't know, maybe like big handful, maybe like 3/4 of a cup of that. I'm gonna tell you all a little secret. I don't cook with recipes, and doing these videos, this is kind of just whatever I'm cooking right now. So I just kind of get it together and give you guys the amounts as I kind of see it happening in front of me. And then if all the gods align, then I go write it down so that the next time I want the recipe, I have the recipe. So just give this a stir. Again, this is on low now. Yeah, if I was to try and cook this, write the recipes, and then recook it for the video so that I have the exact amounts, it would never happen. You would never get no videos from me. So I'm just gonna kind of like let you hang out while I'm cooking, and then I'll type up the recipe once I kind of finalize it while I'm doing this. So really it's more just for kind of like hanging out cooking. This is my little secret ingredient, 1/2 teaspoon of curry powder. And if you might think, well, I don't like curry, That's okay. This is not going to taste like a curry would taste, but that little bit of curry just kind of gives it something different than the regular broccoli cheddar soups that you have. Also, this is fresh nutmeg. I keep it in this little nutmeg grater thing here, but you can just use already ground nutmeg. So I'm gonna grate a few little grates of that in there. I use nutmeg in almost every cream-based soup that I do. Not every, I mean like, but a lot of them, especially if it has cheese in it. So that equals to about a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. And this is it. You just want to keep it on a very low heat until it has melted the cheese. I'm going to grab a bowl here and plate up this broccoli cheddar. Ooh, sorry about that. And of course, we're going to go with some of this leftover shredded cheese here. I have 3 different ones, but of course, I am going to add a 4th cheese. I'm putting a little Parmesan on top because why not add a 4th cheese? If you don't have it, that's okay. You can just top it up with all that cheddar. And of course, a little bit of fresh parsley. I always love a little bit of something fresh and green on top of my soups. Make it cilantro, green onion, parsley, something on top of the soup. I always get that little freshness at the end. All right, there we go. Broccoli, bacon, cheddar, Munster, Parmesan, all the cheeses, and all the broccoli.